What's up, everybody? Welcome to the CheezeTalk podcast. I'm your host, Brian Rago. I got my little sidekick with me tonight, my daughter, Riley. Tonight, I'm joined by Chuck, and I want to give a shout out to the Ope Network for giving me the umbrella to do the podcast under their network, the Ope Network. And good news, today we hit our 523 followers on Twitter, so they will be giving away an autographed 8x10 Jair Alexander photo. So be on the lookout if they decide to pick you as the winner. But yeah, it seems like every episode I've been trying to, doing the shout out to the Open Network and getting the 8x10 photo given away. And it seems fitting that we're recording tonight during Packers family night, so the season kind of officially begins when the Packers have their family night, and we hit our goal followers for the meantime. And Chuck, what have you noticed so far watching family night? Anything stuck out to you?
Not really. What really kind of gets me is the tradition, and you can see just the smiles even on the coach's face that they get to bring their families and all the kids and everything. This doesn't happen everywhere, and I think that's one of the reasons why the Packers are a special franchise, and so kind of proud. I know as a season ticket holder, I never went to family night just out of respect, because I know there's a lot of people who have never get a chance, and sometimes this is one of their first chances to go. So I've respected that, and I've never been there personally. I just kind of I am kind of interested to see what it's like though, in person.
Yeah, it's crazy atmosphere. It's just like a regular season game. It's just there's just a big, as you want to call it, a glorified practice, and it's still cool to see that they sell out every single year that I can remember.
Yeah, that's impressive. I know Jeff Halfley was talking about it the other day in the press conference. How finished at 12:15 today, and there's people at 9 o'clock at night still tailgating in the parking lot. And so he goes, "This is great. I'm glad to be here."
Yeah, thumb down though, and we it's just good to see. I like seeing Marshawn Lloyd. I'm watching it here on my phone right now. I like seeing Marshawn Lloyd behind Jordan Love. I was watching a couple of the the mock kick returns, and they had Keyshawn Nixon and Jaden Reed returning kicks and punts and whatnot. And this team just looks fast.
Yeah, and I think isn't something the Packers in the past have always been, and so I like this, and it's just not contained to the offensive side, because then you look on the defense and Quay Walker, Edgerrin Cooper, you got Jair, and so I think speed is going to be a real key for us competing for our for the title. So
right,
I like.
Go ahead.
No, that was it.
I was gonna say one cool thing that I did catch was they're kind of introducing the Packers rookie class this year, and like 3 or 4 of them said they grew up a Packers fan, and to be on the team he grew up rooting for. And then Kalen King said his favorite player is Charles Woodson. Hey, if he can emulate Charles Woodson in Green Bay, we're going places.
Yeah. You don't even have to. I mean, if you get 75% of Charles Woodson, we're happy. Definitely.
Yeah, if you have the knowledge and the ability to help coach your defense on that field when you're out there, that's huge. You get people in the right spot to make the right play. It's going to play over huge. I'm just super excited for this class to see them in the next few years.
Yeah, and obviously, I'm real encouraged with defense and how everything's sounding. Obviously, it's a first year in this new defense. So we're going to see some hiccups. But I think the nice thing is with so many young guys, hey, they're starting all where the veterans are, and they're all going to learn together and all going to grow. So I think, in the next couple of years, it's just going to get better. So
Yeah, I'm
I'm
watching Sean
looking for.
Clifford here, and I don't know. I think Pratt's out to get his job. I think Pratt's going to be our QB too. To be honest.
Yeah, I was not a big fan of Clifford. I think last preseason though, I thought he did some nice things, and so I think hopefully my goal for Clifford last year was that he would never get to play unless it was mop up, which is pretty much the goal of every backup. So, but I saw Brett in college, and I liked a lot of the things he could do. So I think that's very possible that maybe by the end of camp he could beat, push Clifford to two. But except Clifford's got the year of knowing the offense. That's going to help him.
Right. Like I was just watching a play where like the pocket broke down and he just kind of tried to do like a reverse rollout. And I'm thinking if that would have been Pratt, first instinct you think would have been to take off and run.
Boom, he's gone. Right, right.
So, but maybe they're just trying to keep him in the pocket to see what he does in those situations. But
Hmm.
I'm just excited with the swagger of the defense, like what the rookie class brings in for the defense, what they
Oh
add.
yeah.
I said in the offseason that once we drafted Marshawn Lloyd that he was going to be running back too. But
Hmm.
I got a place in my heart for AJ Dillon to be
Yeah.
successful as a running back too, just
Oh,
because
definitely.
you've seen his training at his training, like what he does in the off season. He slimmed up, he bulked up,
Hmm.
and I think he's out there to prove people wrong,
Oh, definitely.
and try to take a bigger role as a running back as Aaron Jones departed, and then just to be the deadly 1-2 punch behind Josh Jacobs.
Definitely. And nice thing, he knows the system. He's a pretty good blocker, and he's strong enough, he's not going to get bull rushed by some, guys, even though he's a running back. Because I think Marshawn Lloyd, it might, what might keep him from right away is, or as many downs is his pass blocking ability. And I'm sure he'll get there, but it's going to take a little while. So,
But yeah, you have Jacobson and say you had Jacobson Dillon pounding the ball. You get the
oh,
defense on their heels, and then you bring in to say Marshawn Lloyd to add
oh yeah.
that extra element of surprise, so to say.
Oh yeah.
But it's just
And
crazy. It's just crazy to see Lambeau hopping again.
oh,
You know,
definitely. It's great. And the funny thing is, Emmanuel Wilson's actually looked pretty good.
yeah, and he's there too.
Yeah. So,
You get. I mean, if they do keep four running backs, and you got, let's say it's Jacobs, Dillon, uh,
mhm.
Marshawn Lloyd, and Emmanuel Wilson, you got thunder, 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 lightning.
Yeah. Right.
you
Right.
know,
Right.
I'm super excited for that. It's going to be awesome. I can't wait. Like
Yeah.
football's finally started, and you know, from here until February, our weekends are going to be full.
Right. Right. Oh,
uh,
I got a email yesterday from kind of the NFL that because I'm a Packer season ticket holder, they're giving us $70 off on the direct Sunday ticket. So that was kind of cool. So
yeah, that's like super expensive too.
yeah. Yeah.
That's
So
crazy.
So right now I'm weighing that out because last year, I didn't have the NFL ticket like I did all those other years with Direct TV. So I got that NFL.com pack in the app, and I was able to pretty much watch all the games in the red zone with that.
Yeah,
Just got to look out the pricing on that. So being an out of state guy, it's a little more important to me because maybe if you have five or six national games, you know um what about the other 11? And I kind of need to watch those.
Of course,
So
you can't miss those.
no, no, no.
have
So
Have you been paying attention to the kicking battle in camp so far? And what are your thoughts?
yeah, Carlson started out really good. Now I think Joseph's kind of been nice and consistent, and I just think unless it blows them away, I think we're going to keep Carlson just because we invested a pick in him. That's kind of my feeling. I'd like to hear what you think on that.
It's hard because uh like I was on the Carlson train because he's only a rookie, and I was
Right,
trying to
right.
compare like his rookie year to Mason Crosby's rookie year, and it's kind of this, you know, he had a little bit better kicking percentage his rookie year than Mason did, but Mason
Hmm.
had more attempts and more makes. But I don't know, maybe bringing Carlson in was a good thing to compete and make,
Yeah, yeah,
or bringing Joseph in was a good thing to compete with Carlson to be like, hey, look, no one's safe here.
yeah,
You
yeah.
better shape up and get better. And as you were rebooting your and to get on here, I was watching,
Mhm.
and Carlson made a 46-yard field goal. So that's, that's a little bit of a confidence booster. But
Mhm.
we'll see. LaFleur said that they're just going to play it out and see what happens, which
Good,
is the only
good.
thing you can do.
I think that's good that he's not giving Carlson a little confidence. I think it's say, hey, you know, you gotta do it. You gotta succeed. And so yeah, I think he needs that. But you remember his brother Daniel Carlson, kicker for the Raiders, he kind of had
Yep.
a bad first year too. And he
Yeah.
obviously straightened himself out pretty well. So hopefully he talked to his brother in the off season and maybe got some advice and
Yeah. Now I'm sitting here watching. They're doing a punt from like the goal line. And I just see AJ Dillon run onto the field in
mhm,
the special team. So that's, if you
nice.
got him barreling down on you or throwing blocks in the thing, that's, they're utilizing, Dylan, and to get downfield and maybe pop somebody.
Well, that's the beauty of having depth is that
Yeah.
we have depth now. We can have better guys on the special teams, better athletes, than maybe we have had in the past because we are a deep team. And so I'm thinking that'll help. I watched a little of that kind of ugly Hall of Fame game, on Thursday before rain killed it. But just really to watch the kickoff, new rule,
Yeah.
and I don't know. It's a little. It could be exciting. It didn't really look real exciting, but we'll see. I think Keyshawn Nixon is going to be if he and the coaching staff can figure this out. I think this could be a real big plus for us.
Yeah. And if I'm watching here, if they sprinkle in Jaden Reed
Yeah,
returning
right.
punts and kicks, that's going to be huge too.
Oh, definitely.
And from what I've been hearing and reading, Nixon's been making some plays on defense in training camp too. So I think he's
Yeah,
getting more familiar with the defense as well. It being his third year in Green Bay, is it Nixon?
yeah. Hmm.
He's getting more comfortable with the system, and they can have him as a trusty playmaker on defense as well. One thing I was going to ask you: have you seen any of the clips of Romeo Dubs beating Jair Alexander in coverage? Have you seen those?
Yeah, I have.
What are your thoughts on that?
And it's like, well, I know Jair probably likes to take risks more than other people, probably because of his exceptional athletic ability, and I know they like to do that in camp. So, but one of the other interviews I heard though, is that Dobbs tougher Packer receivers for other teams to cover, and so I guess that's not totally, he maybe doesn't have the Watson speed or the size. He's a, good route runner and everything. So I don't know. Sure, your question is this something great about Dobbs, or is this kind of a stab at Jair? Is he getting a little slower? I
No,
think
I
that's
just
the
I just
question
think
that,
I think it speaks to the fact that Dubs is getting better every single year, and he can beat
yeah,
the best
yeah,
on defense.
yeah.
I'm
Oh
not
yeah.
throwing jabs at Jair. I'm just saying that I think Dubs is getting better every single year. And I've said from the
Hmm.
first year that from his rookie year, I said that he reminds me of Devontae mixed
Hmm.
in with Jordy Nelson. That's what Dubs reminds me of. And
Sure.
if he's sitting there beating, say he's beating Jair in practice, maybe it is just practice, but it's still showing something, and it showed in the regular season
Oh,
that
definitely.
he's beaten the team's best defenders. So
And, and I think that's great, that we have Jair. So our receivers, they get tested every practice,
yeah,
against, good guys. And so I think that definitely prepares them better for Sundays when you're getting challenged in practice every day.
right. Like they say, iron sharpens iron. So,
Yeah, definitely.
uh, what are your thoughts on the Packers receiving room this year?
Um, I'm pretty happy with it, obviously. Now I know during the off season you hear, oh, they should go get Brandon Ayuk, or they should, because and it's like,
Why?
why? We're obviously a very successful offense last year, and why would we add a big salary to the cap, break up the chemistry? There was there was no upside to that, and plus we had first and second year receivers, and look how well they performed at the end of the year. They're only going to get better, and the nice thing is we can literally go four deep, maybe even five deep, and still not have a drop off, and
Right.
because even if the other team has a couple good corners, can they still cover our three or four? Those guys can still get open too, and so
Well,
that's
you
pretty
you got to
impressive.
think about if we got two good corners, and they got to cover. They got to decide who they're going to cover out of those four,
Hmm.
and then you got, let's say, Musgrave and Kraft burning
Yeah.
your linebackers. What are you
Hmm.
going to do there?
Yeah.
Because I
Oh,
mean,
you got.
having like Musgrave and Kraft, it's like having a big bodied receiver that can move,
By
and catch
far.
the ball. It's just I haven't. I mean, every year is different, but these last two draft classes have been amazing. I think
Yeah.
Dute's done a really good job getting the talent in the room, and I think um, uh, Larry McCarron was saying about these. He's even talking about the last two draft classes and how like this year is going to be different because before LaFleur was trying to manage dealing with Aaron Rodgers and trying to cater
Yeah.
to him.
Hmm.
And I think that kind of messed with the team chemistry a little bit. And now you got everyone who is on board with Jordan Love there. And
Hmm.
then, I just think that it's the team's in a better overall position this year than they have been in the years past.
I know. I totally agree. And nothing, I have nothing but respect for Aaron Rodgers and all the
Right.
things he did for the Packers. However, I think one of the benefits of now moving on and having Jordan here is we really get to see the LaFleur offense.
Yep.
Know, because Aaron was calling stuff off, and Aaron didn't like motion, and he didn't like, and the motion can really help scheme guys open, even though I think our guys are pretty good and they may not need it, but it's always, I that's why I think why we saw such excellence on offense last year, especially in the second half, because the guys were kind of getting used to it, and Jordan got a little, under pressure. Then I think he opened up the playbook a little more, and you could see what how well that worked.
Yeah. The second what you said, I mean, I'm not dogging Aaron Rodgers. I think he did a hell of a
Oh,
job for the
I
Packers.
know.
I respect him, but it got kind of squirrely towards the end. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it did.
And that,
Mhm.
you know, I thank him for everything he gave to Green Bay, but it's just when it's time to move on, it's time to move on. It's either
Yeah.
we stick with Aaron Rodgers, we run the risk of losing his predecessor or who's been behind him for the last 3 to 4 years. Do we risk losing him to keep somebody around for 1 or 2 more years? To me, I don't take that risk. Cut
Yeah.
ties when you can, and just, I mean, we could have, we could have a terrible quarterback. We could have, like a Sean Clifford, as our starting quarterback, or,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? It's just, I'm glad we have Jordan Love, and things worked out the way they did, for sure.
Oh, definitely.
And speaking of Jordan Love, there has been some like Tua and I can't think of the other quarterback. Tua and Trevor Lawrence signing those contracts, and then Jordan Love. What are your thoughts on where do you think they stand as top quarterbacks in the NFL compared to Love?
Well, I think Love is better than both of them, actually. And tell you why. Now Tua has really talented receivers, and you see how up and down he is, and I know he's got skills and everything, but he's not as consistent as Jordan and Trevor. He was the number one pick, and granted, he doesn't have probably quite the skill players to work around with that Jordan does, but still he's been a little disappointing. He's also been up and down. I mean, as a number one pick, I think Jacksonville probably felt they had no choice. It's like they
Yeah.
didn't want to start over. They saw enough good things out of him that it's like, yeah, we're paying you this money for the future, not what you did in the past couple of years. And so, and
Right.
obviously, yeah,
The thing with Tua is you got to think back to his longevity. How do you think how long do you think he's going to be? I mean, can
Mhm.
those concussions that he
Yeah,
suffered in the past due to the neglect of the Dolphins, will
right,
that come
right,
back to haunt them or haunt him, affecting his play? You know what I'm saying? And then as I
yeah,
saw today, Tyreek Hill signed a new contract.
yeah. I saw that.
It's
Yeah,
like 145 million guaranteed or something like that. It's something crazy. And it's just like these receivers are just messing up the league with the money they're making. I mean, I get it. I mean, he wants to get paid. He has I
sure.
don't know who has more kids, him or me. I have 5. I know.
Yeah,
But you know what I'm saying? It's
right.
it's what have the Dolphins done?
Well, he's saying they shouldn't have re-signed Tyreek Hill. He's explosive and stuff, but they really should have been putting more money on that offensive line, to keep, Tua upright. That should have been their focus. But I just think Tua is not. He's too erratic. You're right. He's got the concussion issue, which, as you know, we've seen in the past. Another one or two, he could be done. And it's like, so that's scary from at least from the outside looking in. So
Right. Yeah, I mean, like you said, he takes a couple of good hits and he could be done. And
yeah,
I mean, I get the team, if they don't have Tua, they're going to be starting over as well. And I
yeah,
don't think they want to start over because that would just put them in a bad spot. And
yeah,
but I think out of those 3 quarterbacks, I think Jordan Love is the one that's that deserved the money the most. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, yeah,
But yeah, like I said, I was going to ask you if you thought that Love deserved the big payday, and absolutely I do. I think
yeah.
you get it done before the season, so it's not a distraction.
Oh, yeah, exactly. We just want him to focus on football. Jordan just got engaged, and so he said the the wedding bill just went up. He said now that he signed his new contract.
Yeah,
I'm sure his fiance said, "Well, I guess we could use this." So,
Yeah, and I'm sure his wedding is not going to be cheap.
No, but if that's his biggest problem, life is good for Jordan. So,
Right? He's going to be well taken care of for the rest of his life.
yeah.
What do
And
you
we
think? Go ahead.
won't have to see his mom sitting. We won't have to see his mom and sister sitting in the top row in Kansas City like we did
Right?
that one night.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'll be in the box now. So,
Yeah. Hell, they can just give her a field pass, be on the sideline.
yeah, exactly.
It's funny that you brought that up because not the where she was sitting, but last night I had on my show, I had the guy, if you remember back to the game in Chicago where showed Jordan's love mom in the stands, and there was that guy
Oh,
with the cheese head on.
oh
I
yeah,
had
yeah.
him on my show last night.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, good guy. James Jefferson. He's been on my show a couple of times, and every time
Yeah.
it's just crazy just seeing him there, and then this. He's like looking. He was sitting there in a cheesehead Packer jersey. He lives in Illinois. I think he lives in Chicago. His mom and dad are Bears fans. So his mom's
Oh, that
sitting there in a Bears uniform, and he has a
Mhm.
cheese head on, and they're both looking at their phones because once they're showing on national TV, all of his friends and everything were blowing their phones up. Like, hey, I saw you on TV and this and that. But yeah, he was on. Good guy. And I know, like you mentioned, the Hall of Fame. When do you think, if you think, will Sterling Sharp make the Hall of Fame in your eyes?
He should, because he was so dominant when he was playing. And however, I think it might need what they call the kind of the veterans committee. I'm worried that it because he should have been picked earlier, and he hasn't. So I'm worried that it's probably going to take like the veterans committee to say, "Oh, this dude was dominant." He just played a few less years than normally we have, and so I think he will be, but I think it's going to take a little longer. I liked his brother's induction speech said, "I'm the second best player in my family," and
Yeah, yep.
Shannon
He's
Sharp said
campaigning
that.
for his brother. I remember
Yeah.
that.
So hopefully his soapbox will maybe help Sterling. But the other thing I don't think I felt Sterling stopped talking to the press kind of in the middle of his Packer tenure, and because some reporter misquoted him or whatever, but I don't know that I felt that kind of hurt him a little, that maybe the Packer fans didn't really get to know as much about him as you would your normal star player, and so because he kind of shut him off. I don't think that should affect, but I don't think that helped, to be honest. Because
Yeah,
sports writers are voting on, there are a lot of the voters on this, so I don't think that helped.
yeah. I can't imagine that it does help that when you stop talking to the people that vote.
Yeah.
um, but I'm sitting here watching these kids from Waupun try to field punts, and it's awesome. A new little wrinkle they added in. We caught one. Having local football teams or youth football players come in and
Mhm.
be part of practice. I think it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
I
it's
think
not it's not easy catching those balls off of those machines when they're or just a punt. That's anyone
Yeah,
who's it's not easy.
because you're looking up at the bright lights and trying to
Oh yeah.
concentrate and get in the right spot, and
Yeah. God
uh,
forbid if there's any wind and stuff, and
just call a fair catch and run the opposite way of the ball.
yeah, yeah.
um, this last week, the Packers unveiled their winter warning uniforms. What are your thoughts on those?
The white ones,
Yeah,
I I kind of like them. I wish it would have had a yellow stripe in the middle of the helmet. I think that would have might have all brought it together. But I think white's kind of cool. but the my thing is I I I would have liked it not at a noon game, having white at a noon game. I think it might have been cooler at a night game. But my favorite alternative helmet is those green ones that they've had in the
Yeah.
past. Those are pretty sharp. So
Yeah, I think it'd be cool to have like the green ones with a big old wedge of cheese on the side.
nice.
Yeah. Like what when you're like watching this practice, like is there anything in specific that you look for as far as a certain positional group or players or
Well, I think it goes from year to year depending on positional needs. Like last year I was really looking at the linebackers and the safeties. And I'll probably be looking at them again. But I feel significantly better about the safeties. We've heard good things about pretty much all the safeties. So Oladipo's getting back into the swing of things now. So hopefully we'll see, because Evan Williams has looked good, and Bullard's he's gonna be real good, and obviously Xavier McKinney's doing great. So, but yeah, what I generally look for is uh, just kind of speed. I just I try to see something that just gives me a wow factor, and or shows me that yeah, I think they know what they're doing, or it's just solid hands, or just it's really hard to tell from one of those practices, but I just try to look for something that stands out, that gives me confidence that this guy's going to be able to do something.
yeah, you mentioned speed, but when
Hmm.
you have speed and you're making plays and you know what you're doing,
Oh yeah.
you can have speed and not know what you're doing and look like a total fool. But when
Oh
you
yeah.
have
Yeah.
speed and you make the right moves and everything, it's huge, and that's what our defense needs.
Right.
You
Right.
know, and
Right.
to have the competition at safety that we have,
Hmm.
and you can tell they all get along and they're all friends and everything. They just make each other better, and that's what we
Oh,
need
definitely.
on our team. We need the the whatever you want to call it, this cheer for each other and not have grudges. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. Oh, I totally get. Well, when you get along and you feel comfortable with each other, the communication's going to be better, because you're not worried about hurting someone's feelings if you have to yell out this call or whatever. They're not going to take it personally, because they're your buddies. So, you're going to do it, and you're not worried about dumb stuff like hurting someone's feelings. You're just yelling it out. So
Right. I
I think,
mean,
yeah,
they're grown men.
yeah, exactly,
you know,
exactly. And
they're going for a job, and if that creates an ultimate level of competition, that's kind of what you're looking for.
yeah.
How many NFL teams do you think are watching this practice?
All of them. I mean, I'm sure they may not all be watching like we watch, but they're all, at least they're sending their intern. It's like, hey, go record this live stream from from today, and I'm sure heck, if Belichick would videotape other teams' practices, they're watching ones that they can legally do over a live stream. So, and
Yeah,
from what I've heard in the past, there's been 20 or 30 guys from other teams in our building on the on family night. So
yeah. I mean, wouldn't doubt it.
yeah.
It kind of brings me back to I was reading. This kind of is like off subject, but as far as like stealing and not stealing, but like the sign stealing in Michigan, like
Uh-huh.
I that I didn't look too much into it, but I saw headlines this last week that they're going to penalize the program like hardcore, and I was just wondering, if do you think it'd be fair if they took away the national championship?
I don't know. I don't know how much they would gain from the sign stealing, but you got to do something. Maybe a monetary thing. It's funny because my wife's side of the family, they all went to Michigan. My mother-in-law, her aunt and uncle, and so that's kind of funny. And then, um, obviously, sending a daughter to Madison, we cheer for the Badgers, and her uncle would always call me and give me grief, when Michigan would beat the Badgers, and
Right.
but but then when it was the other way around, I couldn't get a hold of him for some reason.
Weird. No,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
you go back and you look at the evidence against Michigan in that sign stealing
Hmm.
scandal, and they had that guy in
Hmm.
full opponent gear on the
Right, right.
sideline of
Yep.
an opposing team that Michigan wasn't even playing. Like they're playing like later on in the year, and
Hmm.
how do you get clearance to be on that field on that
Hmm.
team's sideline
Yeah,
without being noticed? That's the
yeah.
next level. And
Right.
if they bring the hammer down on them, I think that I mean I don't know if you take away the national championship or not.
Yeah,
I think it'd be I wouldn't argue with it,
yeah.
you know,
No.
especially being a Badger fan.
Yeah, yeah. Cheaters. We knew it.
But even I mean, no, this is a different subject because I'm all over
Hmm.
the place all the time. But Badgers camp
Hmm.
is sounding and looking awesome.
Yeah.
Some freshman running backs they have coming in,
Oh,
they're
that
they're a bunch of
Dupree.
dogs.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. This is going to be good, and I was telling the guys at work, obviously being in North Carolina here, they don't see a lot of Badger fans. So, they're asking me, "Oh, how many teams does the Big Ten have now?" And I go, 18. So, because we got the new West Coast teams, and so I said, pretty much, we're always going to be good. We're going to be good on defense. We're going to have good running backs, offensive line, and the key to take us to the next level is solid quarterback play. And I think that's what we need to see this year if we're going to be just a good team or we're going to be, you know, contending.
They just signed a future 2026
Yeah,
quarterback this year.
I saw that. So
I mean,
encouraging.
we're seeing the I think we're seeing the Luke Fickle trickle down right now happening with recruiting. He's
Right,
getting
right.
all new people in there. They're bringing back former greats like on the offensive line. Was like Casey
Yeah.
Robick. He's coming in to
Hmm.
something like director of player personnel, and I mean
Well,
they
that's
got
great.
new people at scouting, and I just think
Hmm.
and you have like on Twitter. I don't know if you follow Luke Fickle or the Badgers, but whenever there's like like a big announcement coming up, there's always
I did see that. Yeah.
that jump around thing where
Mhm.
he walks out on the balcony of his office at Camp Randall,
Oh,
and
yeah, yeah.
then you got Joe Thomas like doing gardening in the garden, and
Hmm.
it's just I mean then you get then you like linemen. It's like lineman university, running back university. I mean, you got Joe Thomas. Look at all the people in the NFL that on
Oh,
the
yeah.
line that are from Wisconsin.
Yep.
It's just I think Wisconsin and Barry Alvarez is the one to thank for all that because he was the architect back in the mid to late '90s with everything
Oh, definitely.
happening and getting them in there.
And it's funny because after Alvarez came in and got the football team better, good. Then miraculously, the basketball team got better, and then we got better coach, and it just all fell into line. To because my kids don't know what it was like because I born in '65, so I saw those terrible Badger teams, for decades, and it's like not going to the NCAA, not going to bowl games, and now since the '90s, we've been one of the most consistent, teams in the country, going to bowl games and going to NCAA tournaments, and
Right, and even like their basketball team, they everyone's like always down on Greg Gard, but I think he's doing a great job.
yeah,
He's lost some people to the transfer portal, and you get the thing is with the NIL now, and you getting kids with they think they're better than everybody else, and they're not getting enough playing time, and this and that, and
Right.
it hurts their ego. They think they can do better elsewhere. All right, go ahead and do it.
Sure. Yeah,
And they brought in some decent transfers to Wisconsin.
they did. They did.
And
So
not this year, but next year they'll have a kid from De Pere coming in where I'm at right now. De Pere, Zach how he's botched his name, Kinziger. He's coming in. He's all state, guard from De Pere. He's good.
yeah,
And,
he could shoot.
yeah, he's good. He yeah, I mean, it's just I think Wisconsin's set up good on basketball, football. I mean, even like their women's hockey is doing awesome.
Oh, yeah.
And
Women's volleyball.
yeah.
Yeah.
But there's Emmanuel Wilson. But yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I'm all over the place. I apologize. I just got a million things going through my head. That's how I think.
Problem. I can talk them all. That's
but I don't know. I think the Packers are going to have a good year. I'm going to stick with 12-5, 11-6. No, 12-5, 13-4, not 11-6.
Okay.
In that ballpark, I think there'll be some trap games that we might lose, but every team gets those games. And if you play down to your opponent, and usually they're going to beat you because they're going to catch you off guard. But I'm super excited to see this rookie class get out there and improve themselves. So, are you going to the draft next year? Aren't you?
Yes, I am. Definitely.
You are.
Yeah, I'm going to go get my son-in-law, my brother, and one of my buddies. We're all going up. Yeah, it's going to be a good time.
Yeah. So do you have family close to Green Bay, or you guys got
a place? I have a daughter that lives in Fitchburg, and my brother lives in Racine. So even though they're different areas, they're both 2.5 hours away from Green Bay. So and so we're in the process of figuring out what to do, whether we just make the long drive back or we find a place. So.
Yeah, I know that feeling. I'm from. I've said before, I'm from Oregon, which is pretty much Fitchburg.
Right.
I went to school with kids that were from Fitchburg in Oregon, which is whatever. But so yeah, I know that drive. I still got family in the Madison area, so it's 120 some odd miles, 23 miles or something like that from point A to point B for me. But I'm definitely going to do my best to make it there and have my wife drop me off at the corner of Lombardi and Ashland, and I'll make my way down Lombardi.
That's a much better idea. Yeah. Well, or you could just get dropped off at a hotel that has a shuttle or something if that's easier.
Hey, I'll take the walking if I can do it.
I heard the it's going to be even bigger, space wise than Detroit was. So
they got that Titletown district pretty built up right now. So, it's looking pretty nice. They'll probably have, if you think about it, they'll probably have all the roads around the stadium that are named after coaches and players blocked off.
Yeah.
They'll have like Holmgren Way blocked off. They'll have Bart Star Pass, McCarthy Way. They'll have all those, the roads that go by Stadium View, bar there. I mean, it's just going to be crazy. They're going to have like a mile radius all around the stadium blocked off.
Nice.
But
we'll have to parachute in.
You might get shot down by the military.
Nice.
But it's just a great feeling that football's starting, and I didn't watch too much of the Hall of Fame game because it wasn't too exciting,
Yeah, you didn't miss much.
Yeah, I'm sitting here watching Javon Bullard. I'm super excited to see him go up there and make a difference on defense. It's going to be awesome. I think Christian Watson at 95% if he's 100%, that's awesome. If he's a little bit below,
Yeah.
I think he's our wide receiver one, big
Oh,
time.
yeah. Yeah.
He could beat any defense over the top and make huge plays. Uh, it's just it is football starting gets you in a better mood,
Definitely. Yeah.
mentally and I'm just watching this throw here. Yeah, I mean Clippers look like trash so far, but Jordan Love's looking pretty good in this
Yeah.
family night. So
That's- I always like the drill where they uh, throw it into the nets
yeah, I was
and they
watching
put
that.
the,
There weren't too many that were being made. So
okay. Yeah.
uh, yeah, I don't know. That's the one thing that Aaron Rodgers had mastered to perfection was from the 50-yard line, right in the back corner of the
Yeah.
end zone
Yeah.
into the net. But you know, I'm sure one day Jordan Love will get there.
No doubt. All he has to, uh, all he has to do is win. Well, we don't care if he gets it in the net.
Yeah, just win.
Yeah, just win, baby. But what I'm encouraged about is obviously the year with Rodgers when we won the Super Bowl is we had a top five defense that year, and I don't
Oh
think a
yeah.
lot of years we gave Rodgers a top five defense, and I think at least the approach this last couple years is heading in that right direction. So maybe we don't need a top five. Maybe it just needs to be a top 10 and be consistent. And that might be enough. But, the in the bottom half isn't going to cut it. So,
Yeah. Well, 96 to 2010 is 14 years.
hmm
2010 to 2024 is 14 years. So this is our year.
that
Every
is
14
true.
years.
hmm There we go. I'll take
Uh,
that.
it's funny. I don't know if you saw my post earlier today on Twitter. Like, are you something about? Do you still watch your team's Super Bowl highlights on
Oh,
on the
I still do.
V8?
I think I saw the Desmond Howard kickoff return the other day on Twitter. So, yeah.
Yeah, like if you still watch them on the VCR.
Oh, the
I was
VCR.
making a reference to the Bears fans and
Right.
Cowboys fans.
Yeah.
They always
Uh,
they always crack me up. But
yeah.
yeah, they surprised they're still going. I mean, it's 9 o'clock at night. I suppose it's still what 2 hour practice.
Right.
But
And then they're going to have fireworks and stuff tonight then
yeah,
after.
yeah, that's the one thing that would be cool to be there. I mean, I've been at family night before, but
Hmm.
just to be outside the stadium and see the fireworks going off too would be awesome.
Oh, definitely. Definitely.
Good photo op.
So,
I'm always down for a good photo op.
definitely. Um, well, as a gold package ticket holder, we have three games this year, which is unusual. Usually we just have the two because of the, extra home game. And we get, who is it? Oh, yeah, Minnesota and Chicago and Detroit. Those are our three games. So I think it's pretty good.
Yeah, no, I mean those should be good games. I mean,
Oh,
if you think
definitely.
about it, the Vikings are always tough against us, and I mean, well, the Bears probably won't be good against us, hopefully, but
Hopefully. Boy, they're sure talking. I know they like to talk, but uh, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. There's no way they can be good as Bear fans think they'll be, because that's not possible. But we'll see how I think we'll see with Caleb Williams and Keenan Allen, DJ Moore, and Roma Dunze. They might have a decent offense there. So,
yeah, but if the quarterback is on, like I said in the past, if the quarterback's on his back, he can't be throwing the ball to the receiver. So
yeah, exactly.
yeah, and it's good. I don't know if you're still watching, but it's good seeing Stokes out there. I like that.
Yes, yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Oh, uh, yeah, with his speed, in the secondary, and we need the depth. I mean, Valentine came back, was very good last year, and then with Jair And then, yeah, but I think that'd be a real key if Stokes can play well and play often and not be hurt. I think that's going to be a key.
Yeah, it's going to make the opposing offense, guess and it's going to make them think. You're going to have, you're going to have Stokes and Jair and McKinney and I'm guessing Bullard. Maybe you'll have another safety on the field to cover maybe a tight end, but
sure.
And then you're going to have Rashawn Gary and Cooper and Clark and Quay Walker coming for you. No. That's just going to be one scary defense. Tough. Did you see that attendance stat? The attendance they had come across the screen? The attendance tonight was 60,887 people.
First of all, that's great, but it almost seems lower than usual.
Yeah. Yeah. But so we'll see how the season's going to play out. I was going to ask you if you'd want to be on again. Let me see when I got.
I think August 25th is my next appearance.
August 25th. Okay. Sorry, I'm going through June, July. I'm organized but not organized. August 25th. And we'll have some games down by then to preseason. Yeah, preseason games down.
Yeah. There's a game that night before the 24th. So
the Ravens.
Yep. So that would be good to talk about.
Yeah, and even later on in the season, if you ever want to hop on, I'll shoot you some dates and we'll make it work. And because I'm into October already, so
okay, good.
So I'm keeping busy on my end.
Did a great job tonight.
Yeah, he's eating snacks, drinking Gatorade, right? Yeah.
Yeah, life is good.
Yep.
All right.
But Chuck, I want to thank you for being on tonight. That's going to wrap it up for tonight's episode. And
yeah, my pleasure.
Yeah, we'll see you in a few weeks, and maybe we'll get some other dates planned out after August 25th. But
okay, sounds good.
I'll let you know in the inbox what those dates are, and you can come on whenever you want. If I have an open date you want to be on, go ahead. That's the more the merrier in my eyes.
Fantastic. Hey, I had a great time. It's always a good time talking Packer football. So
absolutely, I had a good time as well, and hopefully they show the fireworks on TV. That'd be awesome.
All right. Well, good night, everyone. And remember, go Pack Go.
Absolutely. Go Pack Go. Thanks again, Chuck.
Bye. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye.